Menu for a Spiritual Revolution, Health, Harmony and Happiness. A book by Philip Kay. Book reading done at the author's family-run Tea Tree House in Chiang Mai, Northern Thailand. Dear reader, this book is specifically dedicated to you. The universe invited you to be here and would love you to flower and flourish. Spiritual living means entering into a conscious agreement with Mother Earth to protect, promote and enhance your life and hers to the best of your ability. This agreement asks you to forevermore push the boundaries of your best and to love and cherish yourself along the way. It is a commitment to lifelong learning, learning to learn and learning the art of living. A spiritual revolution sets you up for life. The menu within invites you to decondition, self-educate and empower yourself into health, harmony and happiness. Have a fantastic adventure. Contents. Preface. Starters. 1. Welcome to your spiritual revolution. 2. Some bad news and the good news. 3. Who am I? Who are you? 4. A dozen tasks. 5. 3 tales. 6. Food for thought. Main courses. 7. Learning, the mother of all skills. 8. A learning toolbox for the spiritual revolutionary. 9. From illness to wellness, a lifestyle. 10. Journey and destination, time, space, consciousness. 11. The journey of life, living consciously. 12. From God and genetics to karma and epigenetics. 13. Problems and solutions. 14. 3DH 5DL, a formula and framework for understanding life. 15. Your body is your temple, your soul makes you whole. Desserts. 16. Motivation, taking the river to Mars. 17. Living the real deal. 18. A diet fit for third millennium citizens. 19. Ayurveda, ancient wisdom for modern citizens. Preface. You can't change anything about your life tomorrow. Nothing whatsoever. Because you'll never get to tomorrow. It's always one step ahead of you. However, if you do want to make beneficial changes, you can do it today. You can change anything you want to change today. In fact, this is the only time you can make a change. So, don't aim to reach a better tomorrow. Simply make today a better today. At 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, 7th of September 1991, the Aeroflot flight from Moscow touched down on the tarmac at the old Bangkok airport in Thailand. My travels to the mystical, oriental Far East were officially underway. Unbeknownst to me on that tremendously exciting evening, I had just accidentally emigrated from England. I was 27. Before Christmas, the money was all but gone and I was faced with an early trip home. Not only that, I had arrived on a one-way ticket, had no money to get back to England and no credit card. I had fallen in love with the Thai people and their country and, in equal measure, dreaded being pitched back into a cold, dark, depressing winter. I simply had to do something. And I did. I landed myself an English teaching job. The last time I'd been in a classroom was 9 years previously, desperate to get my schooling behind me and myself out into the big wide world. A brand new line of work and a brand new life had just begun. I still haven't bought that return ticket. Throughout the 90s, I lived in almost permanent bliss. I loved my job, loved my students and the Thai people, loved Bangkok, loved the food, and I especially loved a trip to the southern islands of Samui, Pangang or Tao every 3 months. I loved it all. Thailand is called the land of smiles, and it suited me down to the ground. There was, though, one problem that intermittently punctured my heavenly life: rage. In my new multicultural and international life, I was reading books about 20th century politics and history, in particular since the end of the Second World War. It was brutal. It was beyond my comprehension what powerful humans were doing to ordinary humans while constantly getting away with it, and it tore at me like nothing ever had before. Empire invasions of sovereign nations, wars, genocide, testing nuclear bombs in other people's backyards, not to mention the ransacking of our planet's resources, and then reading about the Cultural Revolution in China, the killing fields of the Pol Pot years in Cambodia, the extreme army repression in Burma, just next door to where I was living. No words to describe the brutalities. Impossible to conceive human beings could act like this. I had never come across any of this in the British media. Emigrating was when I started to learn about the real history of our world, and my country of birth and upbringing had serious blood on its hands. Whenever I read the books, and I had to read them, for I am a reader and researcher of life as well as a player of it, my body and mind would fill with a horrible rage at the injustice, unfairness, and barbarity of it all. It would feel like my whole body was made of metal and my mind was volcanic. After a couple of years or so, I realised I had to do something about my enraged feelings that would consume my being when thinking about these crimes. I had to stop feeling like this. And so my spiritual odyssey was consciously born somewhere about 97, I think. Living in Thailand, there was no shortage of books on Buddhism, Taoism, Gnosis, the Dalai Lama, and various other spiritual offerings. I dived into them and found a beautiful new inner world arising in me. I began to understand both the bliss and rages that characterized my new life. The bliss remained, and the feelings of rage began to dissipate. Nowadays, feelings of hatred or anger in me simply don't exist. Meanwhile, in my educational work, I completed my diploma in teaching English to adults in 1998, and my already decent ability at offering a learning experience that my students loved just shot through the roof. Being in the classroom almost became a spiritual experience to me, so much did I love being there. Still with a youngish body, my mental and spiritual health were now flourishing. In 2000, I left my well-paid job and blissful life to return to London to study for my Masters in Applied Linguistics and English Language Teaching. The rules, regulations and laws of Blair's Britain were a shock to my system and felt really stifling to me. No and not allowed were the common refrains everywhere. It felt like a semi-police state. I had to put my head down, postpone my new spiritual journey and focus on my studies. However, the bright light was that I thoroughly enjoyed the course and learned tremendous stuff relating to language, meaning, communication, and the psychological and sociological driving forces behind them. It illustrated to me precisely how marketing, propaganda, and indoctrination could be affected, and I finally understood the absolute power contained within language. I could now analyse and see through the media's messaging and manipulating of public opinion with crystal clear vision. In a one-week period in September 2001, the plane attacks of 9/11 in America shook the world. I handed in my thesis to officially complete my degree, and 3 days later, with a copy of my thesis in her hands, my mum died after a 9-month battle against cancer. If only I knew then what I know now. Life deals its cards to us in strange ways sometimes. I used my spiritual learnings from Thailand to help me, focusing my mind on my profound luck at having such a beautiful mum and life teacher for 37 years, rather than what I would no longer have. She would forever live on in my mind and soul, of that I was sure, and yes, she still does. A month or two later, after her memorial service, I returned to Thailand, effortlessly pulled back there by my heart. I joyfully got back onto my spiritual path. Presently, I got a teaching job, teaching other teachers doing their own masters. I was back in my favourite country, back in the magnificent challenge of the classroom, back in my spiritual way of life. And then I met a beautiful and lovely human being who I later married, and life was rewarding me again. Yet, in 2008, beset by frequent lower back pain, which no medical professionals could help me overcome, I finally paid attention to my deteriorating physical health. I had spent nearly 20 years focused on the psychological and spiritual domains of human life, while barely giving my body a moment's thought. With help from a natural healing practitioner, I healed myself through diet within a week, and what a revelation to me that was. I quickly discovered that a fitter, leaner, and more flexible body allowed my psychological and spiritual well-being to flourish like never before. I had found the missing piece to my life's work, realizing our body as a temple to be cherished, not something to be taken for granted. Being a researcher in my work, I immediately and voraciously set about researching all matters relating to nutrition, disease, healthcare modalities, and so on. Having set out on my spiritual journey to counter the rage I felt towards our geopolitical world, I now discovered the perfect challenge to my newfound spiritual credentials. I learned of even greater crimes against humanity in the spheres of food and medicine, but generally I passed the test, and felt no hatred or disgust, merely a determination to try and do my best to add to the solutions. This book was born. That's the sound of my oolong tea. I need to nourish my throat as I'm reading you my book. I hope you don't mind. Dear reader and fellow earth dweller, I am a traveller, a soul adventurer, a transformational educator, a communicator, a learner, and a lover of life. In this book, you will find a smorgasbord of my experiences, understandings, insights, research findings, and awareness-raising tasks, all knitted together and informed by my own spiritual revolution. My intention is to enthuse you into launching your own spiritual revolution, because, so far as we know, we only get the one life. There are no dummy runs, no dress rehearsals, no second goes. This is it, this is your lot. I say, give yourself the very best shot at it today and every other today you get. It will be my pleasure to guide you along the way. Spirituality, to me, is when we discover our own essence and purpose for living, and then set about expressing ourselves fearlessly, lovingly, and joyfully. The revolution part is discovering who we really are and how life works. We become properly intelligent, we heal ourselves, and we help heal Mother Earth. What more could a human being want out of life? I should like to mention a couple of crucial things relating to a successful reading of this book and how you may get the most out of it. I do this with my rebel teacher's hat on. Firstly, I have not written this book to tell you what is right or wrong, what is good or bad, nor how you should live your life. I'm sharing with you my understandings and ideas, and my truths gleaned from my experiences and observations, not some fixed facts and knowledge which I declare to be true for everybody. No, not at all. The truth of being a human being is not out there. It cannot be taught or handed on to us by others. Only we ourselves can find it, and that's because it's inside of us. Any teacher, life coach, guru, or leader who makes you dependent on them is doing you a disservice. The only guru who should lead you is yourself. The contents of my book are designed to help you become that guru by acting as a trigger and springboard for your own evolving understandings of yourself and of life. Secondly, and to that end, I should like to emphasize that this is a book of learning, and I mean real learning, the genuine article, the real McCoy. Such learning should be fun, challenging, and liberating. I therefore bring many of my classroom teaching techniques to the book to enhance the learning process and to make your journey as enjoyable and successful as possible. I invite you to conduct frequent tasks along the way to help you raise your awareness of key issues and to personalize your learning experience. I further invite you to buy yourself a beautiful notebook in which to do the tasks. Beauty and good quality are motivating. You may also come to feel that I repeat myself sometimes. This is no accident. A judicious use of repetition is but one useful strategy to deepen the learning process. In addition, I use a fair smattering of acronyms and initialisms for important concepts integral to your spiritual revolution, and therefore which I feel are worth learning by heart. These abbreviations may slow you down a bit, but that's usually necessary when the brain has to learn key stuff. However, once learned, you will nicely benefit from your extra work done. Don't be shy either to reread sections or chapters, and use your notebook to record insights and understandings as you progress along your journey. The starters are to whet your appetite, open your heart and mind, and put the foundations for your revolution in place. The main courses are for developing your cognitive explorations and understandings, and for learning about yourself and how life works. The desserts have strategies, tips, techniques and tools for helping you put all you learn into practice. May the spiritual force be with you, and I trust I can be a friendly, helpful navigator during your journey. Starters. This section is to put the foundations for your spiritual revolution in place. It serves to whet your appetite, get your digestive juices flowing, get you thinking and reflecting, and to inspire you for the learning journey ahead. Without strong foundations, any old storm can blow the building down. In any journey we undertake to improve our health and our life, we first establish and become aware of our situation as it is. Then we discover and identify what is optimal, what constitutes best practice, where we would like to get to. Then we look at how others have succeeded in getting to the better place and how we can get there. And then we do it. Uncover, discover, recover. Question and challenge. Learn and understand. Do and reflect. Repeat forevermore. In this section, the emphasis is getting one's journey firmly underway. Some unpalatable facts may present themselves to you, but if so, then be sure not to flinch, for then your journey will be a cinch. By the end of the starters, I think you should be nicely grounded and set up for the main task at hand. Learning key knowledge, acquiring core life skills, putting it all into practice, and then enjoying the rewards for your endeavours. Let's start strong, build strong, and become strong. Chapter 1. Welcome to your spiritual revolution. Be the change you want to see in the world. Attributed to Mahatma Gandhi. I never let my schooling interfere with my education. Mark Twain. Brothers, sisters, friends, citizens, this book is a call to arms. Humanity has committed a dreadful crime against itself and against Mother Earth. It is surely time for us all individual human beings, to wrest the initiative and solve our existential crisis, not by overthrowing or fighting anybody, but by empowering ourselves and transforming our lives one by one into the beautiful, miraculous, individual, interconnected human beings that we were born to be. And never let anyone tell you we are not worthy to be such to be such beings. And that's the end of my sample from the early pages of my book. I hope you've enjoyed listening to that, and I hope you like our rain tree in the background. You've probably looked at it all this time. I'd like to ask you, how old do you think that tree is? And that's the tea house just to the right. Have you guessed? It's actually only about 12 or 13 years old. Would you believe it that we dug the lake and then a bird came along, dropped a seed in just the right place, and that seed is now that tree in 12, 13, 14 years. Amazing, eh? If you like the sound of my book and you'd like to completely transform your life, you can buy the book on Amazon. It's the only place at the moment where you can get my paperback version. I know lots of people don't like Amazon, but to be fair to them, as a self-published author, an independent author, they're very, very helpful, and they give us an avenue to get our work out, and the mainstream publishers, they don't. If you're not known, they're not interested really. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I'm now going to sign out. If you're ever in Chiang Mai in northern Thailand, look up the Tea Tree House on Facebook. Come and have a cup of tea with us. I have a lovely range of teas, oolongs, greens, blacks, herbal teas, all kinds. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me, and goodbye.